righty, welcome into another episode of the Five Hole right here on the Variety Sports Network. We're super excited to be back for this one. We got a guest with us today. We're gonna bring in Ray. He's co-host of the now Salty Ice Insiders, or formerly known as the Coyotes Corner. Ray, how are you doing tonight?
Good. We're doing good. It's been busy the last couple
Yeah,
of weeks. I should say probably month, actually. It's been a up and down roller coaster ride for me and Luke.
I could imagine. The way things happen, it happened so quickly.
Yeah, it
Um,
was nuts.
we went from we're keeping the Coyotes in Arizona. They're not going anywhere. To within a week, they're moving to Salt Lake.
Yeah, it was crazy. Me and Luke were like sold, as I'm still, of course, repping the
Yeah.
old team because there's no merch yet for Utah. But it was crazy because me and Luke were literally sitting there talking like, oh, this is really cool. It seems like we're actually going to go through with this arena stuff and we're going to be able to sit here and watch the Coyotes. Me and Luke are going to be able to get out to Arizona and watch a Coyotes game. Then all of a sudden, it's like crickets, very quiet. And that's Luke messaged me, goes, this isn't good, Ray. I was like, what are you talking about? He goes, this is not good because it's been so quiet. And we just found out like weeks ago we were going to buy land. And now all of a sudden it's like we're buying land, but this isn't for the team that we have now. And so Luke kind of foreshadowed it, and I kind of was like, oh, you're right. The writing is on the wall. And then all of a sudden, like when Morello, like when it was coming out like from Craig Morgan that Morello hasn't talked to the team, hasn't spoken to the team in months, days, weeks. I was like, we're gone. And then all of a sudden we were gone. I was like, it was crazy. It sucked. I'm not going to lie. It sucked.
Yeah, I could imagine. I mean, being from St. Louis, understand like that feeling of the team that you rooted for, you've been a part of, you've kind of grown up with, you know, being that team for you and it getting ripped away. Hey, Darren, kind of getting ripped away from you that quickly, and not even that, but knowing it's going to happen.
Yeah, I think the worst part too is, I mean, everyone knows that followed the story. I think Tempe going down the drain is what killed it all, and it just was kind of behind that curtain of, you're not going to tell you that this is the downfall or the start of the downfall, but it was. And even now, like listening to everyone talk, like Ryan Smith was approached in March, early March, for an expansion team, and that expansion team was selling the Coyotes. So I think it's crazy, like finding out all this now. Morello didn't say a word. Morello did not say one single thing. And then watching him in his little press conference with Bettman, I think that was awful. I think it just made him look worse, honestly. Like, I get he was sitting there at his best, trying to say, like, oh, I'm bringing hockey back. But I couldn't even imagine living there because, again, it just ruins so much. And I think that hurts the most, too, is you had the Matthew Nyes, the Austin Matthews, the players that were born and raised, even Josh Doan, born and raised in Arizona. All of a sudden, we're like, this is going to hurt. This is not just hockey fans for a professional level. This goes all the way down to the development leagues and the youth hockey that just started becoming super big in Arizona is really starting to flourish.
Right.
And now that's like the biggest concern right now is what's going to happen with youth hockey in Arizona.
Yeah, what I think as much as you hate to look at the negative side of this thing, there is the positive side in that, he still has all the intellectual property of the Coyotes. Morello does, at least. So from my understanding, from what I've read and whatnot, and correct me if I'm wrong, but he has the opportunity to basically reignite the franchise within at least 5 years is his plan.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And the one thing, because I still keep up with Craig and Petey and Leah and all them at PHNX, just to kind of keep on that news. And like the biggest thing, I think the catch in the whole thing is with Morello is he has to own the team and stay with the team for 5 more years. Like once the team's actually reactivated, he has to stay on board for a time period of like 5 years at least. He can't just bring them back and sell them. That's Bettman's like, we're not in to do it just a swap for you to get this team reactivated and you leave. That's not what's happening. Yeah. And the ownership, if he gets a partner, can't own more than 20%. So he'd have to own 80% of a team if he got a partner on board, if the Yotes get reactivated. So again, it's just one of those things. I feel like it's just so unfortunate. Like you said, positive, he gets to keep everything.
Right.
The Kachinas are the best jersey, I think, hands down in hockey. It's really hard to beat, I think. It's just the fact of it's just how it all went down. I think, and like
Mm.
you said, it's really like you mentioned. There's a lot of positive. The history gets to stay.
Yeah.
Where that didn't happen when Winnipeg came to Phoenix. That didn't happen. That traveled down to Phoenix, where anything Arizona and Phoenix that's happened in Arizona since it's been there, it will stay. So it's brand new for Utah, but all those players are gone. Like the history that's been rewritten recently with all the young guys that's done stuff, Clayton Keller, anything Clayton Keller's done, that's
Yeah.
staying in Arizona, and he's not going to be there. He's not going to be there.
Yeah, he's going to come to St. Louis is where he's going to come.
Hopefully not. Hopefully he stays in Utah. Hopefully he stays in Utah.
We'll give you trying to think. Who can we? We'll send over Kapanen. It'll be fine. Even trade.
Yeah.
So what's next for you guys coming out of the Coyote Corner? I know you've kind of rebranded things from the Coyotes Corner to the Salty S Insiders. Tell us a little about that.
Yeah, so it really came down to, do we completely stop like everyone else? A lot of people that we were close with, one guy, he was actually on our second episode that I was not on for our podcast yesterday, but Haynes, his name's Haynes Evans, very good writer, did a fabulous job writing for the Coyotes. He completely stopped, and we talked with him for a little bit about it. We talked with other people, and then at the end of the day, me and Luke, I got out of class from college, and when it was like official that Friday morning, and I was watching, I was like, Luke, I know you're at work, but I was like, what are we gonna do? Like, what are we doing? And kind of before that, we already decided to do it, but I was like, what happens if this doesn't work? Like, what happens if we like get into Utah and it doesn't happen and we don't like it? But it hasn't been that ever since we decided to make the change. Within that, before the official announcement, overnight of us changing over to Utah, we got 1,000 new followers, and I think that's when me and Luke really knew we made the right decision, because the page has grown exponentially for us in that way. So what we're doing basically is we're keeping our philosophy very much the same what we did with the Coyotes Corner. We're very community oriented, but we want to be that podcast. We kind of want to be PHNX, but in Salt Lake. And if we can do that, that's the goal. We don't have to become super rich and famous, but being the podcast where people are coming in, tuning in, we're coming to us, asking us questions. Like our next podcast we're doing this week is with Patrick Brown. We're going over Hockey 101. That's the name of our podcast. Our podcast is going to be Hockey 101. We just want to give back to the community. So we're really keeping the same goals and drive, and if you want to say MO of the Coyotes Corner, but just completely switched over, because at the end of the day, me and Luke looked at each other and said, we're here for the players. At the end of the day, we're not, this is why we're doing this. We're here for the players. We're here to follow the players. And again, once I said, when I heard that Bill Armstrong, I looked at Luke and said, as soon as Bill Armstrong's on board, I'm on board, because I love what he's doing. I mean, he did it in St. Louis. You guys know he did it in St. Louis when he was in St. Louis. He's literally trying to do the same thing, and I love it. I love every second of it. And now I looked at Luke, I said the best part of it is we had to spend $20 million just to reach a cap floor, and then we get to spend more money. So I think overall, just the young core that's coming, it's just going to be really good, and it's exciting. It kind of gave a new life to me and Luke, honestly.
Yeah, I had the chance to talk to one of the guys from PHNX. I forgot his name. I want to say, was it Steve? I think it was Steve Peters.
Yeah.
I got a chance to talk to him last summer. We kind of were trying to dive into a little bit more NHL talk, and it was just about the Coyotes itself and one. It was a really good conversation. We had a blast talking to him. But even at the time when I talked to him, he wasn't expecting what happened. I don't think. I don't think anybody really was.
It never, and that's the thing. I think the worst part, and that's because we've been asked, even Luke and I have been asked a lot as we've been on. We've been on a bunch of Utah Jazz. A few guys have asked us, even Real Salt Lake, their soccer club. There's a podcast we got on, and everyone's asking, like, are people following you guys? Like, is everyone coming over? And we said, honestly, it's kind of like 50-50.
Yeah,
it's been very mixed, but the people that aren't coming, it's a sour taste, which is understandable. Me and Luke, like, that was the biggest thing we even wanted to say, because we have our biggest thing we do on our page with the Coyote Corner. We wanted to do this with our page now, is we have a group chat, and we told the people, and they're like, like this sucks and we know it sucks and we don't want you guys to hate us. We're not doing this to make you guys angry. It's not what we're doing. This was
Right.
also equally hard, but we want to go with the core guys, and we just knew it for us and what we wanted to do with the Arizona Coyotes. We're gonna get to do it and run with it in Utah. So
Mhm.
for us, it's kind of like a why wouldn't we do it situation. Also at the end of the day, but it's interesting. A lot of people don't. They're like, I'm not gonna do it. I might
Right.
watch a couple of games just to check in on Logan Cooley, Dylan Guenther, Clayton Keller. But I won't support a team in Utah. Which at the end of the day, that's fine. That's your complete your choice because
Right.
again, I get it. That's a sour taste to be left in your mouth after over 20 years of hockey in the desert.
Yeah. So we'll jump back over what there's a lot of names being thrown around the this new Utah team. One of them is the Blizzard.
Yeah.
And
Oh, me and Luke. Me and
personally,
Luke.
I think it's an awful name.
Yes, we're with you. We're with you on that. I'm glad you said it was awful. I feel
Yeah.
like I don't know because also like the Avalanche are going to be in our division. Blizzard and
Right.
Avalanche to me are way too identical. Like
Yeah.
I know just talking with a few people that are in the group chat, our community now with the Salty Ice Insiders and just being on podcasts, they want something that's authentic to Utah because the Jazz isn't. And they'll tell you, they'll be the first people to tell you that has
Right.
nothing to do with our state. And they don't want the double Z's. Everyone's like, stay away from double Z names. So like get rid of Blizzards. No one wants B's because everyone's like, it's going to turn into B's with two Z's. And we don't want that. I personally,
Yeah.
I told Luke since day one, as soon as I saw the concept art, I want a Yeti. I would love it. I think you could really run with it. I know it's, again, as I just said, it's really close to Avalanche. Avalanche had the Yeti footprint on their jerseys at one point. I
Right.
think Yeti you could run with. Also, really starting to love Outlaws, and I would like Raptors. I would like Raptors a lot if the NBA team in Toronto wasn't the Raptors because there's a dinosaur actually known as the Utah Raptor. So like, it makes sense historically, and it's a hotbed in Utah for dinosaur bones. But there's already the Toronto Raptor. So it's like, is that really authentic? As much as you want it to be, and it would be for Utah, it's already taken in the
Yeah.
NBA.
Right. And yeah, we see multiple of like the same kind of team names as
Yep.
throughout professional sports. So um I don't know. I'm kind of I like the Yetis. I do think that's a cool name. The
Yeah, I think
Utah
that was
Yetis would be
cool.
cool.
Yeah, Utah Yetis would
But
be.
I've seen different things. I've seen the Utah Buzz because Utah is the Beehive State. I've seen that one. I've seen the Swarm
Yeah.
as a name, as a potential name too. So it'd be interesting to see
Well,
what they do.
did you see? I don't know if you guys watched the Pat McAfee show. Did you see Ryan Smith on the
Mhm.
Pat McAfee show today?
Did
So
not.
what's gonna happen is they're gonna have an 8 team, which is team name bracket, and they're gonna put 8 team names. It's gonna just be like a bracket, like 1 and 8 seed, like all like that. People are just gonna
Yep.
vote, and whatever one comes out is the team name. That's what they're doing. They're gonna, which I think is cool. I think it's interesting. Pat McAfee is like, I don't know, you shouldn't do that. What about all the AI robots? He goes, don't worry about that. That's exactly what I'm supposed to be worried about and get rid
Yeah.
of. It's what I do for a living. So he goes, don't worry about that. We'll fix it. But I think it's interesting because you don't usually see that. But
No.
it's also weird too because like it's just gonna be off of whatever the fans think, which I'm happy because that means the Yetis should make it to the final. I hope. I hope.
It's probably if that's the case, it's going to come down to the Yetis and the Blizzard.
Yeah, I think it's
And
gonna be Yetis and
Oh my
Blizzard.
god. Just having a big old Dairy Queen Blizzard as your logo.
Yeah.
yeah, that's the case. If this team doesn't get the helmet sponsor to be Dairy Queen, I think we're all going to be
Yeah, they'll
very
miss out.
disappointed.
They'll miss out big.
Yeah,
Yes, they
yeah.
will.
You get a small. Ryan, if Ryan Smith, if you're listening to this, which I probably doubt you are, uh, if you do that, Utah wins. Everybody gets a free small Blizzard.
Yeah, see, that's
Yeah.
that's a seller right there.
That would be the only reason I'd be like, yeah, okay.
All right, yeah, you know what
Sorry,
works. It
Yeti.
works.
Gotta go Blizzard on this one.
Yeah.
It's getting close to that 15-minute mark before we move on. Where can people find you at? And I know I said you're able to, if you want to stay and keep chatting some hockey, you're more than welcome
Yeah,
to.
if you guys want right now, we're gonna work on YouTube, but if you want to find us, we're on X. It's at Salting the Ice, Utah, capital UT. That's where we are right now on X. That's all we have right now on X. You can find us on Spotify for our podcast and Apple Podcasts, which, as you can see, my beautiful name, the Salty Ice Insiders, is the name of that podcast. So if you guys want to tune in, leave a follow, share, like. Even if you don't want to like Utah, we will appreciate the feedback. Tell us how we're doing, how we sound, what you guys think on what we should do. Give us ideas. This is one reason why we love this community, because of you guys like this inviting us on. We love being on podcasts, no matter what we talk about, because at the end of the day, even if we were still the Coyotes, we wouldn't be talking about playoff hockey because we definitely weren't good enough. But we get to do it with you guys, so it was great, and I appreciate being on with you guys today.
We'll pull this up. There you go. I don't know if how well.
I
Yeah,
just
there we
followed
go.
that.
There
Yeah,
you
I
go.
just followed that a few hours ago.
Yeah, go
so.
give that a follow, guys. Salting the Ice UT. That's us right there. Just completely rebranded. And if there's stuff you guys think we should change, even if you're not going to follow the team, let us know. Let us know.
I'm just curious of what's going to happen on this journey. That's why I followed it, because I'm on the East Coast, so we don't really hear much about the Coyotes, or it was very like what we were just talking about. Like, didn't hear anything, and then all of a sudden, boom, there's this new stadium, and then boom, they're going to sell the team, and then Bettman's like, no, we're not going to do it, and then he's like, okay, we're going to move to Utah. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah.
When you talk about that, that's exactly us following the team. It was the same way though. I feel like is the worst part that we kind of talked about earlier, is me and Luke every day sleep, breathe, and live this team, and we didn't even know. Craig Morgan didn't know.
Oh, wow.
I feel like if Craig Morgan doesn't know, it's a problem.
Yeah.
It's a problem.
And I enjoyed this TED Talk because none of my teams have ever moved.
Yeah, me either. This is my first too, so I was like, okay, this is fun, exciting, and also, when I tell you I'm sitting at the bar watching this game on my phone on ESPN Plus, crying. Everyone's like, "What's wrong with you?" I was like, "I'm just sad because I'm graduating college." And they're like, "No, what's wrong with you?" I was like, "My team is leaving Arizona.
Yeah.
That is what's wrong with me. Leave me alone, please."
Yeah, that's how. That's how. Again, be with the Rams when they moved to LA, and it was a slow process.
Yeah,
it wasn't a quick thing. So it was like when we got the new ownership with Stan Kroenke and stuff and everything. It's like crap. Like,
yeah,
the Rams are gonna be like they're already didn't seem like it, but they were in the process of it. Next thing you know, they bring Jeff Fisher in, and they're like, we have like you look at the roster and like, this is actually a decent team.
Yeah.
Like, okay, like we're excited. And you go 7-9. Like, okay, like, all right, maybe it's just like the feels and stuff getting worked out, and next year, like 7-9 again. We're like, all right. Like then, and then there was the following. I want to say they went the 2 years, and then the year that they left, they went like 4-12 or something like that. Some ridiculous thing. And it's like, okay, like y'all did this up a purpose. Like, there was a reason behind you not making the playoffs, even though you had every opportunity to in one of the weakest divisions in the NFL at the time. You lose out on the division in the playoffs to the 8-8 Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah,
like,
that one hurts.
It was rough to see that happen, and a couple of years later they go and win the Super Bowl. It's like, okay, like this that's even a worse feeling than
yes, it's probably not a good feeling, and I think that my biggest worry. I'm going to be happy, but also I'm going to feel, because I know how exciting this team can be next year, and if we somehow make a crazy run in the playoffs next year, I can only imagine what people who I know and met with very well that love this team in Arizona, what they're gonna say even if a team name doesn't get decided, the Utah Hockey Club goes not the playoff run.
Yeah, that would be, that would just be the luck too.
Yeah, it would be. It would be.
That'd be something else. Well, I appreciate you talking a little bit of kind of what you guys are doing, what you're trying to build.
Yeah, of course.
What you are building. I shouldn't say what you're trying to build, what you are building.
Yeah.
It's awesome to hear that you taking the negative out of things and trying to make the positive.
Gotta make a positive somehow, right?
Yeah. So
and who knows? Maybe the whatever Utah is, when they come back to the Coyotes, they'll be like the Rams and win something.
Hopefully, and that's before I get off here, that's one thing a lot of people are like, so you guys going back? And we're like, no, because when Arizona comes back, it's not the same team. Our team's gone. They're in Utah, and that's what we're living, dying by. And also, Morel has to own that team. And no, for all those that don't have to deal with Morello, you're lucky. Don't do it. Don't. If he owns a sports team near you, don't do it. Don't do it.
Mr. Dolan just stays with the Knicks. He doesn't even touch the Rangers. I have just one quick thing I was going to say. So do you believe with the Coyotes and all that it's not a destination for kind of like veterans and like for younger guys? Like they build themselves up and then they just bounce. Like they cash in their checks and then they just leave. Like, do you think it'll be different when they go to Utah?
Yes, I do think it's going to be different. And I think, honestly, the worst part about that is it made it that way because we weren't good enough to sustain people and we didn't have a home. So people weren't going to stay. And I think that's why we got that kind of branding in Arizona. I think looking at it now, I mean, I've looked at pictures of Salt Lake City because I've never been there. I would love to go. Hopefully I can get the boots on the ground there. It looks beautiful. It's definitely it's a winter sport hotspot for dang sure. So I think going to Utah, I think it's going to change the narrative a lot. All I know is the Utah Jazz were awful this year. What I learned, and they sold out like 200 and something games, 249 games straight.
Oh wow!
So like, if you could do that and you're losing, I would go play.
Yeah,
I would go play if I got a home crowd to play in front of.
I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, even Gary Bettman said it himself. He's like, it's not fair to the players. It's not fair to the organization to play in a 5,000 or 6,000.
Yeah, I think our crowd, the crowd that last night was 4,500 people.
Yeah,
we already had Ryan Smith was on the Pat McAfee show and said there was 27,000 deposits. For next season. That's a big difference.
Wow.
It's a
big difference. Jesus.
Goodness gracious. Yeah, that's insane. That really is.
It is. It's nuts. It sucks. It's sad, but it had to happen. It's one of those things where time just ran out and it had to happen, had to go. You hate to see it, but hopefully with the new things happening, life will get better at some point. Like you said, it's slow. Right. It's gonna be a slow process. Even me and Luke, like it still hurts. But also at the end of the day, we feel like we have a duty to follow the team and the players we've gotten close with and grown to. So and that's why we're here doing it. But
it'll be interesting to see where
it is. It's gonna be very.
So, I said you're more than happy to stick around if you want to talk some playoff hockey. You're, if you have the time. If not, thanks for stopping by and.
Yeah, of course. Unfortunately, I'm a busy college kid that
understand.
Work on a baseball documentary, or I would love to actually stay. When Luke's like, they're talking about playoff hockey, it's like, of course, the night I'm busy. But I will make sure to tune in and watch the second half of this. So
sounds good.
You guys enjoy yourselves. I appreciate you guys having me on today.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for coming by. We do appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys. Have a good one.
You too.
See you, man.
Well, that was fun. That was Ray of the Salty Ice Insiders, the new Salt Lake City Hockey Club podcast. So make sure you check them out as well. It sounds like they're already getting a good following, a good backing. So it's pretty exciting. Brandon, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. Sorry, I couldn't get here at regular time tonight.
You're fine.
Had to go get some stuff from my parents' house and do a few other things, and I lost track of time.
Yeah,
so
you're good.
Apologize.
Check in with the scoreboards here. So we got 2-2 in Boston between the Maple Leafs and the Bruins, and it's now 3-1 in the second intermission between the Hurricanes and the Islanders. And that's the first one we're jumping to tonight when we talk playoff hockey. So here we go. I'll tell you what, the Islanders came out and gave the Hurricanes a little bit of trouble at the start of the game. You had the early goal by, gosh dang, was it Kuznetsov?
I think so. I know he scored, but
he scored early. It was like 3 minutes into the game. 3 minutes into that game.
Are we talking
last week?
The first game?
The last game 1. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a minute 35 into the game.
Yeah, it was Kuznetsov. Here's a little fun fact for you though. So, of course, the Islanders got in with the whole late season rush. Would they have like 17 overtime losses, something like that, right?
15.
I thought they ended up with 16. But here's a good thing for you. So interesting thing. The Maple Leafs just scored, make it 3-2.
Nice.
3-2 Toronto. So we'll get to them in a little bit. Islanders have the best overtime record in the history of the NHL playoffs. Does that honestly surprise you at all?
I'm gonna say a little bit, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't realize. Was it with the Patrick Waugh experience, or just this was in general? Like
Just in general,
like the entire season. Oh,
the
wow.
best overtime record in the NHL playoffs.
I guess, I'm a little surprised, especially when Patrick Waugh came. Like, he was pretty much like no nonsense. Looked like it was like his first year in Colorado.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're not a bad team. The Islanders, they're very scrappy. There's a lot of old dudes on that team. That's kind of the only problem. They have no youth, no speed, so they kind of have to claw their way in the overtime and stuff like that, even shootouts to win games. So
yeah. So the first game, they're in game 2 now. It's third period's about to start. They outshot the Hurricanes, and I don't know if you guys got to watch this game. This was the game I think I watched the most because it just caught my eye the most. It was the most interesting to me because I thought it was going to be a good series, and I would not be shocked if the Islanders pull this one out and kind of upset the Hurricanes in round 1.
That's not good for me.
No,
we have to go against them in the second round. If they're beating up on Colorado, Carolina, that's not good for New York.
Yeah, they have 3 goals on 11 shots tonight, by the way.
And at one point they were down 7 or 8 shots by Carolina. Like, it was like 8-0 in the halfway in the first.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising a little bit, I think. But you look at some things. So like Frederick Anderson had a heck of a game the other day. If he was the reason the Carolina Hurricanes won that game 1 at least. He stopped 33 of 34 in that game 1 win. Is it showing that the Carolina Hurricanes are going to have to rely on Frederick Anderson to be their guy to get them to round 2? Brandon, we'll get your thoughts on this.
I would think so because I mean shots on goal. Yeah, they're gonna have to because I mean they're for whatever reason. I mean they came out and won game 1, but I mean that was still he had a lot of shots on them, and if they're getting that many shots on them, the defense is obviously not doing their job in front of Anderson. So the Hurricanes are gonna have to do at least something to be able to keep the Islanders from getting as many shots on goal as they are.
Yeah.
In order if they want to win.
Aaron, what do you think?
I mean, they don't have a bad defensive unit. I mean, I know they have Bray Shea, but he's more offense, defense. I would definitely know. I mean, he's 39, so it's not like he's a spring chicken and not on there. But I mean,
spring chicken.
If you're gonna rely on Frederick Anderson, who literally was out half the season with blood clots, I would try to make a goalie change at that point because he hasn't had this much ice time in the net as I believe what's his name? Is he Finnish or is he Russian? Their backup goalie.
I know who you're talking about. Starts with a P.
Yeah.
I can't think
Kochetkov. Probably definitely butchering that. I would insert him in then if that's going to be the case because you're going to lose that. Yeah, you're going to lose that series if the defense can't help out Frederick Anderson.
Yeah. So I got a few more things before we move on for you. What's it going to take? So Isles they're up 3-1 in this series. They were in the game up until about halfway through the third period in game 1. What's it going to take for the Isles to finish this series out, Aaron?
Win overtime games.
Yeah.
Outside of that,
I mean, there's no shootouts. So you got to win the OT. Pretty much they have to have, which they already kind of did this game right now because it's nothing so far in the third period. But guys like Bo Horvath, who they traded for from Vancouver, he needs to step up in the playoffs. Pretty much all like their main guys like Palmieri. Islanders Aho, not Carolina Aho. And honestly, I think they're goaltending. Patrick Waugh is leaning heavily on Varlamov, and he did that in Colorado, and kind of knows him better than Sorokin. So I think if Varlamov has the hot hand, just keep riding that. But pretty much just their main guys.
He clearly does. I mean, Varlamov,
I wouldn't blame him.
Yeah, no, he had a heck of a game the other night too.
Yeah,
he just got some bad. They got a bad break on the second goal. Just happened to go right onto the Hurricanes player's stick, and just went 5-hole on him. No coincidence there. But it did. It would just seem like a bad bounce, and then you got to pull your goalie at that point in time. Towards the end of the game, you talk about Carolina. So you get a big goal big goals from some of your non-key players in game one. So you Kuznetsov, I forgot who else scored. There was 2 or 3 other ones that scored, or 2 others that scored. So you got Kuznetsov
tonight's game or the other day.
Night. Stefan Newson, and then is it
Martin
Oh,
Martin Nikas, yeah. So they both got goal. All 3 of them got goals. So does that take the pressure off of players like Sebastian Aho, to that he's not the guy that they have to rely on to win games?
I think they're relying on Getzel the most.
Night, guys. All night. They're good questions, I promise.
This is going to think about it.
Yeah.
No, there's a high-powered offense. They got Seth Jarvis, Gensel, who they traded for, all that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah,
they have a lot of firepower on all 3 lines. So
they can score quick.
Yeah, they can score quick. They're a fast team.
Because they got Stahl, Aho, Nawson, Jarvis.
Stahl's kind of taking a step back, though, if you think about it.
Gensel. So Nekis, even. You got a lot of firepower on Carolina to where, it's maybe they cooled off a little bit tonight compared to what they did the other night. And tonight just might be an off night for them, but I can guarantee you they'll probably be jumping back and getting one back probably on the Islanders, probably on the next game or the game after.
Yeah. So what scares me for the Hurricanes is that, and they had this issue last year. I'm pretty sure it was that they didn't win a road playoff game until they beat Boston to move on.
I was gonna say, wasn't it the second round that they won?
I think it was second round.
I know they played Jersey.
It was one, but I know they didn't win a road playoff game the first round. I know for sure because they played. Did they play the Islanders last year? Number at the top of my head. Anyways, but I know they have it. They've had issues in the past of winning playoff games on the road. It's not Nassau Coliseum, but USB Arena seems to be like a pretty intimidating place to play. So could that be an issue for Carolina?
It could. It seems like they have a lot of playoff trouble once playoffs start, and we saw that last year, and kind of seen that a little bit tonight with. It was not even that long into the game whenever they got it was first period 16-22 whenever they got their first goal, and then not even 3 minutes later they got their second.
Yeah.
And then a couple minutes into the second period they got their third. So they had a little bit of issues tonight, but I think they can have a little bit of a bounce back maybe, but we'll just have to wait and see. I don't think history could repeat itself. They could bounce out early like they did the last couple of years, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the Islanders last year. They won in 6.
Okay. That's what I thought. They lost the 2 games in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm not worried. They upgraded immensely with Gensel, and they won 6 last year against the Islanders. I still think they're going to win in 5. So I'm not really too worried.
Yeah, I said it the other day. I was like, there was when I made up that quick little poll over on our X page. If you're not following, make sure you hit that follow button too over on X. That I think the Islanders get 1, but I don't know if they get any more than that. I'm surprised that they're up 3-1 tonight in Carolina, though. So I'll give them that.
Yeah, but you want the Islanders to lose this series because then you can finally get rid of Lou Lamoriello because he still thinks this is the 90s and early 2000s Devils teams. He needs to go. This is a perfect opportunity.
Yeah. Before we move on to the Bruins Leafs game 1 thoughts, should have mentioned this before we started this. But Lindy Ruff was hired as the Buffalo Sabres head coach today.
That's crazy.
That he was.
He's the most winningest coach. I think I read it right. He's the most winningest coach in Buffalo Sabres history.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Maybe playoff history. That's one of the two. I think it's franchise. Like he's the most winningest coach in franchise history.
Wouldn't doubt it
because he was there from 97 till 2000, or according to
97 to 13.
How many?
97 to 13.
Yeah. He was there for a while. But according to Elliot Friedman, he was there from 1997 to 2103. So.
Oh, yeah? Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. He coached the Sabres from 97 to 13, but he played for the team from 79 to 89.
Interesting. So that's just some of the news from around the NHL. Lindy Ruff was hired as the head coach of the Buffalo Sabres today. So we'll move on to our next game 1 recap, or game 1 thoughts, I should say. Now this was a fun one. It was kind of a blowout.
Oh, yeah, it was.
Oh yeah, game 1 thoughts, and you're already halfway, almost done with game 2 here. As the Islanders look to tie up the series right now, it is currently 3-2 Toronto, with Boston empty net, 50 seconds left in the game.
I mean, it's always good to see an original 6 series.
Yeah,
but in that game 1, it was a slaughter.
It wasn't even close.
Yes, it was.
It wasn't even close. I think I stopped after it was like 3-1 because they just kept piling on. I believe in the second period, they're just piling on Toronto.
It was second period.
I had that game on for a little bit. I was putting stuff together in the babies, or for the baby and stuff and whatnot that's coming. And it was the end of the first period. It was 1-0. I was like, oh, okay, like we got a decent game here. And I come back out of the room, and it was the start of the third period. And I looked up, and it was 4-0. I'm like, what in the hell just happened? I was like, that happened. It was just like boom. Next thing you know, it was 4-0 Boston.
And the funny thing about that first goal, it came within the first 2.5 minutes of the game starting.
Yeah. So fast too. It wasn't even. It was very similar to the way the Hurricanes Islanders game started.
Yep.
Earlier that day. This was back on Sunday. Who started tonight? Oh man. This is my first question too that was going to lead into things. Jeremy Swayman did not get the start tonight. They gave it to Linus Ullmark, who's stopped 30 of 33, and looks like it could be a Boston loss. So this was before, as I was doing my research and stuff today, the first question I wanted to ask you guys was, does Jeremy Swayman start game 2? And at the time when I was looking through things, I was trying to find lineups and stuff, and Jim Montgomery was like, I'm not telling anybody who's starting tonight. He's like, I didn't even tell my wife who's starting tonight. I'm like, how am I supposed to plan for stuff and ask good quality questions if I don't know who's starting? And it's Ullmark who's in goal tonight. So I think this right here, if Boston loses this game with 48 seconds left, you have to go back to Jeremy Swayman.
Oh, definitely.
I don't know how you don't.
You should have just kept them riding the high hand.
Yeah, man.
I get it because they're number 1 and Swayman's a restricted free agent after this year. But I mean, this is the playoffs, man. But then again, Boston was messing up today too. They had 6 guys on the ice at one point for a Toronto power play. I think that was when John Tavares scored. So they've just been off in general tonight. And I don't know if you saw, but Samsonov, great save with his neck. The puck went right into his helmet. It was pretty good.
Oh, really? I didn't see that one.
Yeah, I think it was like beginning of second period or near the end of the first. It was like around that kind of lap.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you got 20 seconds left. It's still 3-2, 6-on-5, Boston empty net. So no William Nylander in game one either with the undisclosed injury. Didn't play. I don't know if he even played tonight. I haven't seen. I tried to find that too, and I couldn't find anything about William.
I don't see him anywhere.
But most of the stuff that I did find pointed to him not playing.
Yeah, he didn't play tonight.
That is nuts. He's like pretty much like your best player, even though I get it. Austin Matthews is on there, but that dude's been on a tear for the last like 3-4 seasons.
Again, this was before tonight's game, so act like you have no recognition of tonight's game. Does William Nylander affect how Toronto plays? Into regulation, Toronto wins 3-2. Series is tied.
Yes, because you don't pay him that much money just to be a sideline guy. And he kind of makes the big difference in this series because they already have the goons, obviously Ryan Reeves, David Kampf. So if anything does happen in the Boston series, they have these guys like Max Domi can kind of be a goon, but not really like Todd Bertuzzi definitely is. But you need the scoring. John Tavares is old; he's like 33. Right. Matthews, it just shows he just likes to score, but they like to give him the puck. I mean, Mitch Marner's playing, right? Because I haven't really seen anything much of him. Or no, right?
So.
No, he's not.
He's not playing either.
Yeah, nope. So you definitely need Nylander playing. That's for sure. Wait.
I thought.
Yeah, he was playing tonight. Because he was a minus one
tonight.
Was he? Okay, I didn't see him tonight. I don't know why. Yeah. But yeah, no, you need your ace in the hole.
2 shots on goal, 2 hits, and 19 minutes, 50 seconds of ice time.
Yeah, that's solid numbers.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't see him.
That's solid numbers. Also, just to throw this in there, the Golden Knights and
that game finally.
Golden Knights and the Stars just started. Puck drop should be here. Oh, it's already 10 seconds in.
Go Stars.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mark Stone's not going to be available for the playoffs because he has a lacerated spleen. Guess who's playing game one?
It's a miracle.
Miracle.
Mark Stone.
And guess who's hurt? Or was he a healthy scratch? No, I think he is hurt. What, Mantha? Is it Mantha hurt? So they can clear that?
There's a guy. He was in Pittsburgh, wasn't he?
Washington. They traded for him. Right. Yeah, he was the first one before everything went down with Thomas Herman.
Right. Let me ask you this big question, this big one, and move on from the Boston-Toronto things. If Toronto loses this series, does Sheldon Keefe get fired?
Yes.
Yes.
It's a pretty simple question, right? There's no reason that the Maple Leafs keep him after another. Well, they made
it's been how many seasons now that they've been either first round or second round outs? It's been a number of seasons under Sheldon Keefe.
20, I believe. Yeah.
With the team they have, there's no reason that should be happening still.
Exactly. And what was it? It was 2004 was the last time they got out of the first, and they got it last year. So it's like
right.
Now, a better question is, if Toronto makes it past Boston, does Montgomery keep his job?
Yeah.
I'd imagine that Boston will pay him. I know we were talking about it in
I was going to say we had this conversation earlier.
A little bit, but I don't see how you get. I mean, I know that'd be 2 straight years of first round because they lost in the first round last year too, if I remember correctly.
Well, that was the worst playoff loss in like the NHL history.
Didn't that make it to like Game 7 and they lost?
Yep, they were up 3-0. Not even they're up 3-0.
I remember that.
Came back and won. That was the worst collapse in NHL history.
Are you sure? I mean, the Toronto one against Boston a couple years ago was pretty rough too.
Yeah, but it's Toronto though. They did the same thing to the Lightning.
It's expected with Toronto, not expected with Boston.
Not when you have a season like that. Not when you have a season like that.
No, especially with how many how many like records and everything they broke last year, and
Yeah.
the record season and everything, and how well they played, and then have the brutally ending as they had in the playoffs.
Yep.
Ugh.
You're not going to believe this.
Oh,
Golden
boy.
Knights have already scored. And guess who scored the flipping goal?
Don't tell me Stone.
Mark Stone.
Oh my
This
god.
son of a bitch.
Dude. It's a miracle. They must have some Jesus water in Vegas.
Good God.
My goodness.
In the other game, Seth Jarvis scores for the Hurricanes to make it 3-2 Islanders.
Ooh.
Man, that has just got to be the most awful thing in the world to see. No, it's not the most awful thing in the world.
Watch
Mark
they come
Stone.
back and win that game.
On a power play? It says a power play.
I don't doubt it. Their Islanders are not that good on the penalty kill.
Yeah, it says power play goal. Oh, yeah, this was 30 seconds into the game. Dallas gets a 2-minute minor for high sticking.
I bet it wasn't
Rough way to start the game. You guys, anything else on Boston, Toronto?
Yeah, go Leafs.
Go Leafs.
Go Leafs.
Never thought I would hear that from a Rangers fan, but I guess it's Boston. So.
Well, I hate Boston because of their fans.
Boston.
And one of my ex co-hosts, he said in a text message from me, he said, if Boston loses, I'll wear a Rangers shirt. So I'm really hoping that happens.
I got my. I'm not. It's weird being. This is before the Blues played the Bruins in the Stanley Cup Finals a couple years ago, but I do have a Bruins jersey, so I don't wear it, but I do have a Bruins jersey. Yeah, I know. It was way before I got this thing in like 2012.
Brandon.
So
You did it right after they won the cup.
Yeah, I did. It was the same year they won the cup and they had the Winter Classic the same year. So deal with it.
Whoa.
Both patches are on it too. It's pretty sweet. Yeah, I won't lie. It's the yellow throwback one too. So it's not even. It's legit. It's sweet. Except for it's Tyler Seguin. So, yeah. All right.
Saturday games were interesting.
Yeah. Move on to your. I put those together today. I thought they were really cool once I figured out like how I was going to do it. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, you get the thing to go down and the logos pop up. I'm like, oh,
nice.
Yeah. So 21 shots on goal for the Washington Capitals, and no shots on goal for Ovechkin. Pretty impressive.
Fourth time in history has ever happened. Last season was 2018 against the Penguins.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive to say the least. 21 shots. You had 4 shots in the first period for Washington, and then 6 in the third period for the Capitals as well. What does Washington got to do to get more pucks in front of the net?
Feed it to Ovechkin.
Just give everything to Alexander Ovechkin. Yeah.
Well, it's funny is because I said on the Blue Shirts Banner post game show, I said all they do in playoffs like that is just feed Ovechkin. Basically, what Brandon said, they just feed Ovechkin, and Ovechkin always scores against the Rangers. He could just be standing there, right there at the blue line, and he just snipes it right in. It doesn't matter where he is.
Yeah.
Always gets a goal on the Rangers, no matter what. But I mean, you can't blame the Caps. Well, they had almost 6 rookies playing in this game.
They're younger. They're a weird mix of old guys and young guys.
Rempe getting his first NHL playoff goal to start the shebang off.
Yeah.
How about that?
He's a goal scorer now, right? He's not a goon anymore.
Ryan Reeves said the same thing and then fell off the face of the earth. So and besides getting the puck to Ovechkin and making sure he's able to get shots on goal, I'm sure you watched the game.
Score on the power play.
Yeah,
because they went 0 for 4 against the Rangers that day.
So we've killed the last 19 in a row. Start going back to the regular season of power plays, and the Capitals are now 0-14 against us this year on the power play.
Dang.
And not giving as many takeaways away because they had what was it, 5 or 6 takeaways is what I'm seeing here on the Rangers had against Washington. So that's if you're trying to win games, 5 takeaways to another team is not a good thing.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I would say not. So you brought up the power play, scoring on the power play. There was a total of 46 penalty minutes in game 1, which is a ridiculous number.
I don't know if you saw, but fake guy Tom Wilson was trying to go after Schneider at the end of the game, and I was like, "Come on!"
How chippy does this series get? You saw the weird charging called on Rimpey last night too.
Yeah, that was stupid. Did you see the Trocheck was a high stick? Just because the guy can't hold on to his stick.
I didn't see that one, but I did see the Rimpey charging one, and it's like he glided.
Yeah,
the rest of the way.
It's because it's Matt Rempe. That's why.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It's like he's the next Tom Wilson, to an extent.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Penalty wise.
Rempe's going after the tough guys. He's not being a fake tough.
How chippy does this series get, Aaron? Do you think it gets a little out of hand, or do you think the refs are gonna be able to?
It's gonna get out of hand. Tom Wilson's gonna do something. He's gonna do what he did. I believe what was it like 3 years ago, where he took Panarin and just like body slammed him, come from behind. So Tom Wilson's definitely gonna do something, especially what happened at the end of the third period, pretty much end of the game.
Yeah,
but I would say watch out for Panarin. Because he's on a mission this year because he did not score any goals at all in the playoffs last year, and he already has one. And that was his main thing, was that he pretty much has the biggest chip on his shoulder that he needs to score more in the playoffs. So I would definitely watch out for Panarin.
Well, that first and second line that you guys have is dangerous. I mean, you got Kreider on one of them. He's with Zibanejad, is that right?
Or it's Kreider, Zibanejad, and then we have Roslovic from the Blue Jackets. Otherwise, it would be he's out right now. Blake Wheeler, unfortunately.
Oh yeah,
yep. And then you got Trocheck, Panarin, and I can't remember who the other winger is on.
It's going to be Laugh on that one. But last night our fourth line scored twice. And unless my stats are wrong, when Jimmy Vesey scores a goal for the Rangers, we automatically win. Like at one point, we were 14-0-1. I kid you not. We were 14-0-1 when he scored a goal.
Jeez, you got goals from Kreider, Vesey, Panarin, and Rempe yesterday. So you got goals from all your big guys.
Yeah,
Panarin. I mean, Vesey, I would say, is still a very known guy there, and Chris Kreider. So you got goals from all your top players last night for the most part.
I mean, but shout out Barclay Goodrow though. That guy's been on a milk carton like all year, and he had 2 assists in this game.
Mm-hmm. How big of an impact does Ovechkin need to have in game 2 for the Capitals to get to see the next round, or to even basically not get swept?
Well, I would say not just Ovechkin, but I mean, you have guys. You have Ovechkin at -1, Milano -1, McMichael at -2. You got a bunch of guys all minus in this game, so it's just not really Ovechkin. You got a bunch of guys that are not really playing their A game. I mean, you even got Oshie, Pacioretty, Malenstein. They're all Pacioretty was 0, but otherwise all those guys were all -1s or -2s. You gotta have production from these guys that like a lot of them that I listed off, or else you're gonna be only relying on Ovechkin, and without those guys playing their A game, you're gonna lose.
Yeah, that's fair. Any final thoughts? Anything you're looking forward to the game 2 besides a win, Aaron?
I'm just looking out for Tom Wilson, just because, like I just said earlier, what he was starting to do at the end of the third. So he's going to try to make a big impact early on. So hopefully either Matt Rempe or anyone can kind of like put a pin on it, so we could go in for the next game. But I mean, we just need to keep our foot on the gas because we've played the Capitals the last like 3 series from like 2009. We've won all 3 from them, but they've all been tough matches and way better players than this one.
Right.
And I'm not trying to be what happened last year with the New Jersey Devils. So definitely just keep the foot on the gas. Even though Charlie Lindgren's is going to be a second career start, Darcy Kemper is in the wings. And I'm not saying he's a good goalie, but he does have playoff experience.
Yeah. Like Charlie. I like Charlie. Charlie Sideburns. Yeah. Alrighty. Those are little thoughts on the Rangers Cap series so far. I did see that the Stars had tied it, but now the goal's gone, so I don't know if it's being reviewed. But it
says
Ryan
Suter
by Ryan Suter, 1-1.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Old man Suter. Oh my god!
But on my thing, it's not.
Surprised the dude hasn't retired yet.
Right.
He wants that cup, man. All those years in Minnesota with Zach Parise.
My thing says it's still 1-0 Vegas, but the score ticker below says 1-1. 1-1 tie. You got 5:27 left in third between the Islanders and the Canes, who have the Islanders 12 shots on goal, by the way. 12 shots tonight.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Let's move over to move over to the highest scoring game of the playoffs so far.
That was nice.
Brandon, you said that the Winnipeg crowd looked bad.
Dude, it did. Whenever I was watching the game, the amount of empty seats in that building astonished me with how many times I've watched playoff games in the past, and that arena was completely full.
I thought it looked pretty full. Some of the videos I was watching, I thought it looked like a pretty full arena.
Camera angles, man. Camera angles.
It could have been. It could have been.
It could have been at the point of the game that we were watching it too. So there's that as well.
That's very true. That is very true. 13 goals were scored in this game. There were 7 by the Jets, 6 by Colorado. At one point, it was 7-4 Winnipeg. Were we surprised at all by the way that game went? It was 3-3 after the first period.
Dude, it was nuts.
I wasn't surprised at all, especially with Colorado having Georgiev. The later half of the season, Georgiev has fallen off for whatever reason. I don't know what was going on with the dude. So they're still able to win games, but that was because they had an onion in. But I don't know what is up with him or what he has going on, but he is not playing like the goaltender that he has of previous seasons.
Yeah. What do you think, Aaron?
I mean, I told on Twitter for the Far End of the Bench podcast that no trade backs, no trade backs. But I did like the point that they said. I'm actually going to try to watch that their reaction to this game. They pretty much said Colorado, they had a bad. What we just talked about, Darcy Kemper. They had a guy like that on bad goaltending, so they thought they could do it again with Georgiev, and obviously it's not working out in this game one. But then. You can't blame Winnipeg. They have a really stacked team. They got Tyler Toffoli, Monahan. I can't believe Vladimir Nemestikov scored a goal in this game. Like the Rangers had him, and we sent him into purgatory to Ottawa, and this guy scoring playoff goals. Like what?
Real quick here. So they took the Dallas goal away. After that, Vegas went on to get a Jonathan Malta-Short goal. So it's now 2-0 Vegas.
They're going to do everything they can, huh? Is this going to be the Patriots?
Oh, God. Making that reference now. Shit.
Oh, good God. One of the questions I have here, and I had to reword it because I said it weird. Like it was 25 blocked shots by the Jets last night.
Yeah.
The Colorado still had 46 shots on goal. So my question was, what does Colorado have to do to get more pucks in net? And I thought about it. I'm like, they had 46 shots on goal.
And they went 2 for 2 in the power play.
And still lost.
The one difference maker in this entire game, because if you look at the first and third period, both teams matched for goals. The only difference out of this game was the Adam Lowry goal in the second period.
Yeah.
Well, it was just like the one lone standing goal that Colorado was not able to get a goal whatsoever in this game. And I was watching this game at the gym, and the entire time I was like, this game is insane to watch. Because at one point I think it was 3-3, because I was watching it at the first period had ended. Whenever you guys were all messaging about it in our group chat, Brandon, I turned it on, and I was like, okay, cool. It's 3-3 in a second. All of a sudden I look up and it's 4-3, and then a while goes by and it's like 5-7. I'm going, holy shit.
Yeah. It happened so, and it was just like the Boston game. It happened so fast.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So I'm not going to answer that or ask that question, even though, because it was dumb. After I read it and read it back to myself, I was like, they still had 46 shots on goal. That means if all 25 of those block shots got through, they would have had almost 60 shots on goal.
Yeah.
Insane. I mean, realistic. I mean, you could count 60 shots on goal. If you count the 25, you're looking at 46 and 25. That's what, 71? Am I counting right? Am I math right?
And I think Colorado is still pretty injury ridden, aren't they? They still got a lot of people on injury reserve.
I think so. We already kind of answered my next question: should we be worried about the Colorado goaltending?
I don't know. Well, I guess a good secondary question is for the next game: do they go back to Georgiev or do they go to an Onion?
That's a good question. We'll find that out tomorrow night.
I would have to stick with Georgiev.
I think you have to stick with. I think you have to.
I gotta find the stat, because I think in the regular season, I think he had a pretty decent stats.
Yeah. I don't know, but that was a heck of a game between those two teams, and it's going to be a very fun series to watch, as some of the other ones will be too. I'm waiting for the Kings-Oilers game to kick off too. You got 2 minutes and 50 seconds left in the Islanders-Hurricanes game too. It's still 3-2 Islanders in that one. 9:35 left in the first period between the Stars and the Golden Knights, and it is 2-0 Vegas in that one.
More than likely, he probably won't be starting tomorrow because he's got down with illness.
Ooh, Georgiev?
No, an Onion.
Oh, that's probably why. So it'll probably be Georgiev. Yeah.
But I mean, the dude has a 225 goals against and a 928 save percentage. He played in how many games did he play? 14 games, had a 8-4-1 record.
Yeah.
So I mean, did pretty decent for the few games that he did play.
Right. All right. We'll move on from that. You guys ready for it? It's the battle between you two. I'm gonna move myself down here. Hold on.
Oh, is this what the game that we're going to be talking about?
Before we do, all I'm going to say is that Florida should not, Tampa should not have pulled their goalie. That's all I'm going to say.
Yes. Yeah. I almost talked about, and I almost used that game tonight, but I was like, no, we can use that.
I did not understand that move whatsoever.
Yeah. Lost in the game, basically. Yeah. So, all right, Hockey Fight Night. Let's go. It's trivia time, baby. All right, here's the rules. You get 1 point if you answer the questions with the options. You get 2 points if you answer them without the options. It's 3 trivia questions all around the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's a fun one. Did a lot of looking into this one, so it made the questions not so fun for you.
Great.
We'll just go. We'll go one at a time here to make the drama a little bit more interesting. Brandon, since you're the, I guess
The visitor.
I'm gonna let Aaron. I'll let Aaron go second since he won last week. So Brandon, you got to go first. All right, you ready for you put your answer in the private chat there, as always. So, you ready for question 1?
Yep, let's do it.
Okay. Vegas was the first team in 50 years to advance to a cup final in its first season. What team did it in 1968?
Ooh.
If you missed this, oh my God.
Did you purposefully give me this question? Really?
Yeah. Okay. Question number 2. Who was the last Canadian franchise to win the Stanley Cup?
Canucks haven't done it. I'm gonna say it was
1993, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was the year I was born.
Same.
You want the options, Brandon?
Oh, I'm going through all of them. The last time that I think I remember him having it, but with how many they've had, I almost got him.
Okay. Aaron, did you need anything for the first one? You're good.
Good.
You're good. Okay. All righty. Question number 3. Which team franchise has the most Stanley Cup Finals appearances but has not won the Stanley Cup?
Oh God.
This was a tricky one. I had to look into this one a little bit.
And no cup. I might have to go with the options.
Okay. All right. I'll give you the options, Brandon. If you don't want the options, put it in there or in the chat for us.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the options because I can't even think on this one.
Okay. It's a good one, right? It's a good one.
I'm gonna regret this. I think the options.
Is it so here's your options. You got the Carolina Hurricanes, the Ottawa Senators, or the Vancouver Canucks.
Well, repeat the question again.
Which team has the most Stanley Cup Finals appearances or Stanley Cup Final appearances but has not won a cup?
And you said Nashville, Vancouver, and who else?
You got Ottawa,
No.
Carolina,
Ottawa.
Vancouver.
Oh, it's like I know it's not one of them, and I'm just really trying to think of those years.
Use
with
the
this
process
one
of
team.
elimination. You use the process of elimination to get rid of at least one of them.
Yeah, no, I know the one. It's just these. It's the two.
The two. Surprise, surprise! It's the two Canadian teams.
For real. I think I'm wrong.
I knew this answer as soon as you repeated them all back, and I was like,
Yeah.
I literally looked this up earlier today.
You just
Randomly looked it up earlier today. God.
All righty. Here we go. Question number 1. And if we need to do the face-off, we will. Vegas was the first team in 50 years to advance to a cup final in its first season. What team did it in 1968? That was the St. Louis Blues. St. Louis Blues. So you both got 2 points on that one. right?
Yeah, I've answered Blues.
Okay. Who was the last Canadian team to win the Stanley Cup? You both have the correct answer in Montreal. So 2 points there. Now this is where it gets interesting. Which team has the most Stanley Cup Finals appearances? Stanley Cup final appearances. Does not won a cup. Aaron, you answered Ottawa. Brandon, you answered Vancouver. The other option was Carolina. We know Carolina won a Stanley Cup already. So just process of elimination there. Ottawa has appeared in 1 Stanley Cup final. Vancouver has appeared in 3. One of them was against your New York Rangers.
Yeah, 94.
Yep.
Yeah, that's why I was trying to think, because I remember the Alfredson Heatley teams and stuff.
Yeah,
and I think I was thinking when they went up against.
They went to several Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, that's what kind of was like really messed with my brain.
Yeah.
Because earlier today I was looking stuff up and I brought this picture for tonight's thing because I was like, this might be a good topic of conversation for you because these are all the teams that are in the playoffs that haven't won a cup. Yeah. And as soon as you said Vancouver, I'm going, son of a bitch.
Yeah. So, Brandon, you move on to the next round. Aaron, it was fun. We'll have to see who I don't know if it'll be me, if we'll get somebody else to do it. The face-off question tonight would have been if we would have got there. But Brandon, you got 5-4 victory in this one. The face-off question was this: which American NHL franchise has the mark for the most Stanley Cup final wins, and how many is it? And I was going to do the whole thing, you got to guess the number. There's a Detroit Red Wings with 58.
I was going to say Detroit was up there. I know Detroit was up there. I just couldn't remember the number of games.
Yeah. So we would have done that whole thing like you guessed. The closest number would have got the point. So
yeah.
But yeah, that was your hockey fight night, Stanley Cup Playoffs edition.
So, I just feel honored that I got this far because like hockey is like my third of knowledge, so I'll take it.
Yeah. You guys got any final thoughts? Let's check the scoreboard one more time before we check out for tonight. Are you guys? Oh, Carolina tied. Carolina's winning 5-3.
What?
Fuck.
What just
two? No, 3 unanswered goals, right? It would be 3.
Yeah.
So it was Sebastian now. What did I just say? Jake Etzel. Jake Etzel was their factor, and he scored a goal. And Seth Jarvis. Martin too. And I was ex-Coyote.
Goodness gracious, that happened so fast.
Insane.
Wow. Carolina looks like they're going to go up 2-0 on. On the New York Islanders. So.
Yeah, 15 shots on 1 shot for the Islanders.
Yeah.
For this period. God damn.
That's crazy.
They're shutting them down.
4 goals in the third period for the Carolina Hurricanes. Just bonkers. All right,
that's
you guys
a good way to end the show.
Yeah. That's blew my mind. I saw 3-3, and next thing you know, it fixed itself. Jamie Benn just scored a goal to make it 2-1.
Yep.
2-1 Vegas. So, any final closing thoughts before we head out tonight?
Just subscribe and like the show.
Yes, sir.
As always. I don't know if we're planning on another one of these on a different night. I don't know if I'll be there, but there's a good chance you might see another episode of the Five Hole. So,
what is
as always?
Like, today's the 22nd.
Yeah.
Monday.
We have the NFL draft Thursday, so that's a no.
Right.
So maybe Friday. I probably won't be there, but we'll see.
Friday we have New York, Washington, Vancouver Canucks, Nashville,
all late games.
Winnipeg, Colorado, Edmonton, LA.
Yeah.
Ooh, I wouldn't mind. Aaron, I know you guys usually do your stuff post game for New York. We could do one of these and hop over to your guys' show on Friday.
All are welcome.
Yeah. game 3. So don't have anything else. Thanks for tuning in to tonight's show. We really appreciate all the people who are watching right now. But we're gonna get out of here and finish up some hockey tonight. So thanks for tuning in. If you haven't checked out Variety Sports Network, make sure you go ahead and check out our YouTube, check out our X channel or our X page, I guess, as well. Hit the subscribe, hit the follow, and we will see you. We'll see you next week or next show, whatever. See ya.